What's up, everybody?
What's up, everybody?
It is Thursday.
It's Thursday.
That means it's time for another episode of Inside the Relationship.
Mm-hmm.
If you are joining us, we just ask one thing, and that is that you share it. Whether you're watching it now or whether you're watching the replay, all we ask is that you share it. That's it. That is the simple ask that we have. You can support us in that way. Now, there are a whole lot of other ways you can support us as well, and maybe we'll talk about it during the show. But one really quick way you can support us is by hitting the share button, right? We're gonna talk about some things today, man. We got a couple of things. If you looked at get myself together here, if you looked at the description, you know some of the stuff we're gonna talk about, right? We're gonna talk about the definition of cheating. We're talking about the definition of cheating. We're going to talk about what else we're going to talk about. We're going to talk about some ways to have a healthy relationship. We're going to talk about the meaning of progress. We're going to talk about a few things. We're going to talk about jealousy. We're going to talk about a few things. So, you know what? Let's just go ahead and get it started. Tell all your friends, come on in. It's Thursday, and since it's Thursday, that means it's time for another episode of Inside the Relationship. All right, so hey, listen, let's hit it. You ready to go?
Yes.
Let's go.
Let's go.
You're watching Inside the Relationship with Denise and Ollie.
So sit back, relax, and let's talk about all things relationships. What's happening, everybody?
What's happening?
What's going on? Listen, if you're here watching now, let us know you're watching in the comments. If you're watching the replay, just put replay in the comments, and let us know you're here. How you doing?
I'm okay.
It's been an interesting week. You know, we're human beings just like everybody else. It's been an interesting week. You know, people have interesting weeks. Whatever you think interesting might be, you know, we'll let your imagination run wild there.
No, don't.
But
because it's wild.
Well, you know, this is what it is. You know, but we're here and we're excited to be doing the show again. Listen, those of you who love and support us, share this with your people, share this with your networks. We love when people are in the comments. This show and the show that we do on Saturday nights, which is Have a Conversation After Dark. These shows they're only as good as the people that are in the comments. Well, that's not true. No. The shows are really good, but we love to have the engagement. We love to have the interaction and the engagement. All right. So listen, we got a lot to talk about today.
We do.
So we're just going to jump right in. Let me say first thing in the beginning, this is a phenomenal t-shirt that I have on, 1 + 1 = 1, talking about oneness in marriage and just illustrating how oneness can be achieved, where one person does not necessarily have to be the same as this person, but they come together, make some adjustments to create something brand new. Listen, we want you to have that t-shirt. Why do we want you to have that t-shirt? One, because it's a dope t-shirt. Number one. Number two, we want you to have the t-shirt because the t-shirt, getting the t-shirt will support the folk that you care about and love. Hopefully you do care about and love us. You can get your t-shirt right here at pressandsoul.com/Denoli. All right. So make sure you grab your t-shirt today. There's some other cool t-shirts over there as well, all with meanings behind them. All with meanings behind them. So we appreciate your support in advance. Listen, we got some folk in the comments. David Kennedy's in the comments. Hello, fam.
David.
Shows are awesome. Appreciate you, man. Thank you for your support and for those words of affirmation. Means a lot. David also said my 2020 Before Hindsight shirt is great as well. Dope t-shirt.
Yay.
Thank you. Appreciate that. Thank you for your support.
Thanks for your support
there as well, man. That means a lot. That means a lot. All right, listen. We got a lot to talk about. Let's get into it. We're going to start right now with the media mixdown. Let's go. All right. So with the media mixdown, here's what's crazy. All right. Media mixdown. If you saw the David said, love it. Thank you. If you saw the thumbnail for the show, the thumbnail for the show said it's not cheating if they live in a different state.
Depends.
Now, for many of us, I would assume,
Yeah.
for many of us, that sounds ridiculous.
Right.
However, there is a young lady. I watched there's a show on MTV. Can't remember the name of the show, but I'm watching them interview this young lady and her boyfriend. And the boyfriend is the reason why they're on the show is he wants to know why is he being kept a secret from her family. So as the show goes on, it comes out that she goes out of town to visit a friend. Her and this friend have at first she's saying her and this friend have a great friendship and all this kind of stuff. And it sounds harmless, right? It sounds harmless. Long story short, it comes out that she's in a relationship with this person, this guy.
Yeah.
In this other state. The boyfriend is looking dumbfounded, like, what in the world is going on right here? And she's like, the people that are interviewing her ask her, so no, let me go back. They asked her before, are you cheating on the boyfriend that's at the show? She said no. Fast forward now, comes to find out she has in a relationship with this other guy in another state. So they go back to clarify. So wait a minute. So you are cheating. And she still says no.
Because she doesn't consider it cheating.
She does not consider it cheating because the person lives in another state.
Silly.
Now, fast forward, it comes out that she has multiple people in multiple states.
Yeah.
And she doesn't consider this cheating because jurisdiction allows her to have relationships in various jurisdictions.
That's her own legal jargon. Silly. It's ridiculous. But my thing is, though, I guess, like, how committed is her relationship with the gentleman that lives in the same state as she does? Like, I would be curious to know, what are the terms of their relationship? What did they both agree on? Well, clearly
that's a good question.
Clearly not the same thing.
They didn't. And I mean,
he was dumbfounded.
Right.
He felt like they were strictly what's the word? Exclusive.
Right.
Yeah.
Yeah.
But clearly that's not the case.
Yeah, so I'm just going to assume they didn't agree on that. She didn't disclose that, nor did she feel like she needed to.
Right.
When they asked her, "Hey, well, does your family?" Because remember, initially he wanted to know why he's being kept from her family. So they asked her, "Does your family know about these other folk?" And she was like, "No."
Right.
She was like, "I don't want people asking me, well, what happened to this guy? What happened to that guy?" She's like, "No, it's none. Basically, they don't know."
It's crazy.
So listen,
I wonder if it's, I don't know. I was gonna say, I wonder if that's even for real.
And it might not be for real. You know, you never know. You never know these days. There's so much stuff that's staged.
Right.
There's so much stuff that's staged. There's so many things that are actually skits.
Right.
We don't know, right? But I'm gonna say this. I've been working diligently to speak my mind with tact. It doesn't always happen this way. So I'm just going to say, I personally think if this is for real, I think the chick is crazy. Just flat out.
Yeah.
Because how do you come up with the ideology that it's not cheating if they're in a different state?
Yeah, that's her ideology. They just needed to talk about it. Clearly they didn't. That's the whole thing.
Yeah.
Like, if anything can be taken out of this, it should be that you need to specifically set up how your relationship is going to be. Set up what
The parameters.
the parameters are.
Yep.
If you take anything from this whole debacle, I would say that that's what needed to happen. Like there were no parameters set up. She was leading him on because he didn't know. And she knows that he didn't know. And
Right.
you know what I'm saying? So
Yeah.
you got to set up parameters in your relationship. And this is what it is. This is what it's not. This is what I accept. This is what I don't accept. This is what I'm going to do. You know, all of that needs to be talked about.
And then you determine whether that's what it's going to be or not.
Correct.
Now, let me just say that in saying all of that, let me say this. It's not a good idea to have multiple relationships in various states. Let's just put it out there, right? I'm not going to argue with anybody's belief system. I'm not going to argue with anybody's value system. I'm just saying from a relational standpoint and the capacity that you need to maintain a healthy singular relationship, it's probably not a good idea to take on multiples. That's just a lot of work.
Now, see, here's the thing too. I think when you're single, you should date. But I think that this is a little bit more than dating.
This is more than that.
This is more than dating. This is not dating.
Yeah.
I feel like you should date people when you're single, of course. But that's not what she's doing, because it sounds like these people in different states, she wants to act as if they are exclusive.
Yes. And in her mind, she's not cheating. She is intimately involved with these folks as well. That came out as well.
Yeah.
In the interview.
Yeah.
And so
that's not dating.
Yeah, that's a whole different ball game, right? And it's ridiculous. Let's just call it what it is. It's ridiculous. It's not a good idea. If you're going to be exclusive with someone, then they should be confident in the fact that you are not out here running from state to state, knocking down other folk.
Yeah.
It just, it's just ridiculous. It's ridiculous.
Yeah.
That's the media mix down. For those of you who might be coming in late, we're talking about the media mix down and a show on MTV where a girl was being interviewed with her boyfriend. And long story short, it came out that she's cheating on the boyfriend. She has multiple men in multiple states. However, her ideology is that she's not cheating because they're not in the same state. So she has jurisdictional relationships.
So I guess too, what is her definition of, and his, a boyfriend?
And what is the definition of cheating?
Right.
Yeah.
All of that.
Clearly,
parameters.
That's not her definition of cheating.
Right.
Let's make it real clear, folks, that if you are in a relationship and it is a exclusive relationship and you are in a marriage and you step outside of that with someone else, you're cheating.
It's cheating.
It don't matter whether they're in a different area code. Like the what's the song? Was that Ludacris song? I got hoes in different area codes. It don't matter if they in different area codes. It's cheating. This chick on this MTV show is a nutcase.
Stop it.
Let's just be clear about that.
Stop it.
Let's be clear about it. She is a nutcase. All right. That's the media mix down for today. If you're watching this on the replay, we would love to hear your thoughts about what is your definition of cheating?
Good idea.
Because your definition of cheating may be different than ours.
Good question.
Your definition of cheating may be the same as hers. Hey, listen, we'd love to hear you. And I know I called her a nutcase, but we don't judge. If you believe what she believes, we would like to hear that as well. All right. So that's the media mix down.
Judgmental. If you call one person a nutcase and then ask them if they believe it, if they say they believe it, then they're not.
Listen, don't let my
assessment
stop you from saying you agree with her.
Oh my!
If you agree with her, if you feel like it's not cheating if they live in different states, then that's fine. Don't let my nutcase assessment stop you from believing what you believe.
On.
All right.
Let's move on.
Yeah. All right. All right. So here we go. That was the media mix down. we heading right. We're gonna keep this thing moving, man. We're gonna get into the question of the week. Let's go.
Question of the week. Want me
Question
to
of
read
the
it?
week. Yep.
My husband and his childhood friend, female, are very close. I am feeling myself starting to be jealous of their friendship. I believe everything is above board, so I feel funny bringing it up. What should I do? So this wife has her husband has a longtime childhood friend. They've been friends clearly since childhood, and the wife feels uncomfortable, a little jealous, a little left out, of their feeling jealous of their relationship. She also said, though, that she feels like everything is above board. There's nothing going on between the husband and his childhood friend.
Mm-hmm.
So that's why she doesn't want to bring it up. She's like, I know nothing's happening, but I still feel jealous.
Mm-hmm.
I think that she might feel jealous because she is not having her needs met. She's feeling neglected. She's being neglected, I feel like.
Okay. So
what should I do to answer her question is she does have to say something. Okay. She has to say something to him. She's got to tell him how she feels.
Now, here's the thing, though. Just like you could speculate that her needs are not being met.
Uh-huh.
Let's speculate the other side.
That his needs are not being met?
What if the needs are being met and she just insecure?
Well, then if she's insecure, I feel like, I don't know. Do people really admit that they're insecure?
No.
Right.
Not usually, they don't.
So maybe if the husband can pick up on that and be like, nothing's happening. Why would you think that? It's got to be because she's insecure. Then he would need to ask her, what do you need to do to feel more secure? Because I'm sensing that you need more security from me. Yeah. Maybe he needs to do that. If that doesn't work, then maybe she needs to get a third party help, like counseling or therapy or something. If she truly believes that nothing is happening.
Yeah. I would say this either way, because we're speculating based on the question, right? Regardless of where we fall on the speculation spectrum, she has to say something to him.
She does have to say
because the longer she holds that in, even though she right now feels like everything is above board, the longer she internalizes that, the less she's going to feel like everything is above board.
Yeah, that's true.
The scales will tip.
Yeah.
In favor of whatever's in her head.
Yeah.
And then she's going to start acting on it.
Yeah.
And that's where problems are going to start.
I agree.
So she's got to say something, regardless.
That's the first step. You have to say something.
Got to say something.
You have to say something. That's the first step.
If we're going to move further down the process, the husband, after this conversation, needs to be very intentional about providing concrete reassurances.
That's the word I could.
That are not just verbal. They can't just be verbal reassurances.
I agree.
She needs to be included. Like, it can't be just me and my good friend from childhood. We going out to eat dinner tonight, or we going to the club. No. We all going.
Right.
We all going.
Yeah.
Right. And it's not because something's going on. It's just I want my wife to be comfortable.
Yeah.
I don't want her to have these feelings. I want her to see what's happening and be sure about what's happening, and be sure that there isn't even any comparison. So there's nothing for you to be jealous about, because there ain't even no comparison. You are the love of my life. She is a childhood friend. The two they can't even come close to adding up. She needs to feel that from him in the way that he treats her.
And here's my other questions too about this childhood friend. If you're single, why do you always need to be around a married couple, regardless of the fact that you and this friend you and this husband have been friends since childhood? Why do you always have to be around this married couple? And if you're married, where's your husband?
Yeah, that
No, for
I,
real.
I'm with you. I'm not negating what you're saying. I mean, again, we're stretching it a little, but I get you. And good evening, Kels.
Good
Thank you for
evening.
being here. Appreciate that. Excuse me. I'm with you 100%.
How are
There
we
has to be
stretching
some
it?
boundaries.
Yeah.
There has to be some boundaries, right? Because we don't know how often they hang out.
Well, yeah, I said always, but
You know what I'm saying? So we don't know how often they hang out. She could just be very insecure and they only talk on the phone like twice a month.
true, very true.
We don't know
We
because
don't know.
that's not in here. However, that's overall, that is just a good rule of thumb
Practice, yeah,
to
to
really
have.
be like, okay, why, what's the cadence?
Yeah,
Is the cadence conducive to us building a healthy relationship? If it's not, boundaries need to be set up.
yeah,
If you're married, then all four of us need to be hanging out.
right.
Boundaries still need to be set up.
Yeah,
Right. So there's definitely some nuances to it. But in this particular question, just at face value, she needs to say something. Because the longer she internalizes this, right now she believes that everything is above board, nothing is going on.
right.
The longer she internalizes this, the less she's going to think that everything's above board.
Yeah.
She's going to
She's
start
gonna
conjuring up stuff in
yeah,
her head.
yep. She's gonna start thinking, and
Hmm.
maybe it's this, and what if they this, and
Yep.
it's just more and more. She's gonna start thinking about all types of stuff.
And let me tell you something. We've seen this play out.
Yeah,
What's going to happen is she's going to start acting
on her
on those
thoughts.
things that
Yeah,
she has conjured up.
yeah.
That is going to create tension and conflict between the two of them.
Because she still hasn't talked about it
Right.
with her husband, and he's
Right.
gonna be like, "Well, what is going on?
Yep.
Where is this coming from? What is wrong with you?" Yeah.
And that tension now creates a wedge that opens the door
Yeah.
for things to not be above board.
Right. Very true.
Because now he like,
It's a
oh,
slippery slope.
chick ain't really rocking with me like that and giving me a whole bunch of stress. I'm going to start hanging out more over here.
It's a slippery
And
slope.
all of a sudden, my childhood friend now is like,
Mhm.
I ain't really know. Hey,
Yeah.
you know what I'm saying? You know, man, you good. Okay. Right. And that's how it happens. We've
That's
seen
how
it play out.
happens. Yeah.
We've seen it play out. So Kellen said that's truth. So you got to have the conversation. You got to let them know, hey, listen, here's what I'm feeling. And be honest. Listen, I'm not trying to blow up nothing. I'm not trying to accuse you of nothing.
Right.
I'm just sharing with you
How I
what's happening with
feel.
me.
Yeah.
And then share how your mate can help facilitate you not feeling like that anymore.
Give me some reassurances.
That's
This
it.
is what I need to be. This is how I need to be reassured.
Right.
This is what I need.
And we don't have to make it a big deal because we've also seen this. Somebody will go to the other person and then the other person's like, oh, you just insecure, man. You just trying to. No. Hear them out. Hear them out. If you love them, you want them to feel secure.
Yeah.
You want them to feel connected.
Yeah.
You don't want them in the room or wherever they at in their office or wherever conjuring up stuff.
Mm-hmm.
So you might as well have the conversation and figure out how you can make that work.
Yeah.
That's step
I
one.
agree. Yeah.
Had a conversation. So
that's where you need to start. Have a conversation.
That's where you need to start. Listen, that is the question of the week. If you have a question that you would like to be used for question of the week, feel free to email us admin@denoli.org. We will get your question on a show and we'll give you our honest opinion about the question. Give as much detail or as little detail as you want. You can see in this question, there wasn't a whole lot of detail. We don't know how often they hang out.
Right.
We don't know certain things we don't know. So we had to speculate, but it doesn't matter. If you have a question and you want us to tackle that question on an episode of Inside the Relationship, email us and we will be sure to get that question on there. All right. So again, question of the week is, my husband and his childhood friend, female, are very close. I am feeling myself starting to be jealous of their friendship. I believe everything is above board, so I feel funny bringing it up. What should I do? You got to bring it up.
You got to bring it up.
Because the longer you feel funny, the less
the
you're going to
more you're
feel
going to
like,
think about
right.
it, and the more scenarios you will create in your mind.
That's right. And the less you will think that it's above board, then you're going to start acting reckless. And that's going to send you exactly where you don't want to go.
Yeah.
All right. So that is the question of the week. Listen, let's keep it going. All right. Well, let's keep it going. We got another segment coming up, and this segment is all right. Marriage Minute. This is a simple one. I was live on TikTok earlier today, and I was talking about healthy relationships.
Mm-hmm.
And what I was saying is that there are 3 things that we are intentional about doing and continuing to grow in these areas
Mm-hmm.
that are helping our relationship be healthy.
Mm-hmm.
And here are the 3 things. The 3 things are: we are learning how to communicate on an extraordinary level.
Mm-hmm.
Now, that entails a lot of stuff, which we won't necessarily break down, but I'll give you a few things. That entails us understanding each other's communication style. That entails me knowing how she likes to be communicated to and vice versa, right? That entails us learning each other to the point where she can read my nonverbals, and she understands my
mm-hmm.
my body language,
mm-hmm.
eye movements. There's little nuances, like I will clear my throat before I say something.
Yeah.
Right. So little things that you just kind of pick up on over time that help you to be able to communicate on an extraordinary level.
Yeah.
So that's the first thing.
Mm-hmm.
The second thing, go ahead.
To add to that, right? The picking up on the little things, you probably know them, but don't realize that you can utilize these things, these little things. You can utilize them as a way of learning how to communicate better with your spouse. Like you said, with the whole clearing your throat thing, like I know that and I've known that forever, but I haven't always utilized knowing that as a way to communicate better. It's just something I knew and dismissed it. But once we started wanting to communicate better with each other, then it's like, yeah, he does clear his throat right before he's about to say something or right before he's about to start a conversation. So let me be more mindful of when I see that, or in this case, hear that. So I'm sure that there are so many little things in your spouse that you know about them, but you don't use them as tools to improve your communication.
Yeah.
So just throwing that out there, you probably know a whole lot of little things about your spouse.
You probably
that you're not really thinking that you can use as tools for improving your communication.
And it's okay.
And it's okay.
Right? You can be forthcoming and say, hey, listen, every time I clear my throat, it's usually because I've been thinking about something that I'm trying to formulate and I'm going to say it.
Yeah.
You can be forthcoming and say that.
Yeah.
Or it can be learned over time as well. You'd be like, hey, you know what? I kind of pick up every time you've been deep in thought and you're about to say something, you clear your throat.
Yeah.
Am I right?
Yeah.
Yeah, you are. Right. So we're learning all of these different things, and not only learning them, but being intentional about putting them into practice. So once you find out how your spouse likes to be communicated to, your mate likes to be communicated to, you gotta execute on that.
Yeah.
You can't find out how, like, imagine this. Imagine me finding out that your meal of choice is steak. And I just consistently keep feeding you salmon because I like salmon.
Right.
At some point you can be like, dude, that's not what I like though.
Yeah.
Give me what I like.
Yeah.
So once you find that out about someone, how they like to be communicated to, what their communication style is, execute on that. Don't ignore it. Don't ignore it. Execute on it.
And I would say, like when you, like when now that I know that you're deep in thought and you want to start a conversation,
Mhm.
when you clear your throat, and no, it's not every single time he clears his throat, right? But you just sometimes it's a combination of clearing your throat,
Mhm.
your eyes get shifty, and your body language, all that kind of stuff. Sometimes you can use that and be like, "Baby, okay?
Right.
What's
You
up?"
can initiate the
You can
conversation. Yeah.
initiate the conversation
Yep.
just because you know it. Now, what are you going to do with it?
Yep. That's
Sometimes
right.
you need to initiate the conversation, even though he's the one.
Even though the body language and nonverbals really was the initiator.
Yes,
Right.
correct.
Mhm.
But to get the conversation going, sometimes even though he wants to talk about something and he's more forthcoming than me, sometimes I might need to be the one to get the conversation going.
Mhm.
So once you know it, use the tool and initiate the conversation.
Indeed. Kel said, when you clear your throat, it's about to get serious.
Yeah, a lot of times
It's
it
about,
is.
yeah, you're right. It's usually something that I'm like, man, I'm just kind of wrestling with.
Yeah.
So that's the first thing that we are doing. And there's three
Mhm.
things. First thing that we're doing to really ensure that we're living a healthy relationship is we're learning how to communicate on an extraordinary level, which incorporates a lot of different elements.
And
right?
extraordinary is relative.
Extraordinary is relative.
What we consider extraordinary might not
Mhm.
be, it might be something else for you.
Yeah. That's a good point. That's a good point. Now, there are some basics that need to be achieved across the board.
Mhm.
But extraordinary, the finish line for you,
Yes.
finish line, which there never really isn't a finish line,
Right.
but the finish line for you could be different than it is for us.
Definitely.
Right. Or the benchmark, let's put it that way.
Mhm.
The second thing that we are learning how to do and being intentional in doing is recognizing, managing, and recovering from conflict in record time.
Yeah.
Now, if we go back to the beginning, we weren't
our
doing a
marriage?
good of
Oh,
our marriage.
yeah.
We weren't doing a good job of recognizing conflict.
Yeah.
So it's like not recognizing you're in a pool until you're already in 12 feet. And by the time you there, you like, I don't know how to swim, so we just gonna drown. I can't even do anything about it. I didn't even recognize this was water until I started gasping for air. Right. That's how it was with conflict for us. We didn't even recognize that conflict was we were encroaching, is that the word, on conflict until we were neck deep in it.
Yeah, until we were in the
Right.
throes of it. It was
Right.
bad.
So we weren't recognizing it, number one. And typically, when you don't recognize it until you're neck deep in it, it's tough to manage it well at that point.
Yeah.
So we weren't managing it well, and we weren't recovering well.
Right.
And if we did recovery took a long time.
Yeah.
Or recovery got or it was swept under the rug in the name of recovery, and then it
Right.
would come up a couple
Quote
months later.
unquote recovery.
Right. So what we're learning now is to recognize when that comes and be able to manage it effectively.
Mhm.
And that management allows us now to recover a lot quicker.
Yeah.
So something that might have taken 2 weeks might only take 2 hours.
Yeah.
At this point in
Or
our
2 days.
or 2 days. But we're shooting for 2 hours. Right.
Yeah.
So Kel said recovery still on eggshells. Right. Which is not true recovery.
It's not.
So if you're still on eggshells, it's not really true recovery. It's we've swept something under the rug, or we've dismissed something, or we've kind of let something go in the name of recovery, in the name of keeping the peace, or whatever the case may be.
Don't want to start nothing.
Right. But then we end up having to deal with it again later on down the road. Yeah. So that means recovery didn't really take place. So
correct.
We are learning. The second thing we're learning how to do is to recognize, manage, and recover from conflict in record time. And for us, it's record time. Whatever that means for you. Let me tell you. And we're the last word will be apropos to what I'm about to say right now. It whatever record time is for you is good. So if it took 6 months for you to get over, for the two of you to get over something, and now it takes 6 days, man, that's phenomenal.
That's phenomenal.
That's record time.
That's record time.
If it used to take 6 days and now it takes 6 hours, record time.
Yeah.
If it used to take 6 hours and now it takes 6 minutes, whatever it is, right? Your goal is to cut that time down because you've been able to recognize it when it was coming. You've been able to put some really good things in place as it relates to management, and that management allows you to recover quicker.
Yeah.
So that's the second thing. The
Yeah.
first thing we're learning how to do is communicate on an extraordinary level. The second thing is we're learning how to recognize, manage, and recover from conflict in record time. The third thing that we are working on being intentional about doing is building a bond, a holistic, intimate bond. So we're not talking about just in the bedroom. We're talking about all across the board. Right?
Yeah.
And before I go through that, is there anything you want to say about the conflict piece? I kind of just rushed through that. But
no, I think you covered that one.
Okay. So intimacy. And those of you who have been around us know we've talked about this before. There's several types of intimacy, right? There's emotional, physical, that's not sex, spiritual. The list goes on and on.
Yeah.
Intellectual, experiential, all of these different types of intimacy. We have now been working on building in those areas, right? Because what the goal is to build something that can withstand all the stages and phases of life. And I'll use an example that I've used before, that people have heard me use before. This table that's right in front of us, you can't see it, but this table that I'm knocking on here is a very strong table. It's a wooden desk that is, you can raise it up and down, right? This desk is sturdy enough that we could put a ton of stuff on here and have no fear of it breaking, of it even bending or bucking, nothing, because it is so sturdy, the way that it's built and the way that it's reinforced. That's the kind of intimate bond we're trying to build. So that when crazy stuff happens, like we said, this was an interesting week. When the interesting weeks happen, when the crazy things happen, when the disappointments come, when the conflict comes, whatever it is, when the great things happen.
Yeah.
Because they hold their own level of weight.
Yeah.
When the great things happen, we want to have something that is sturdy enough to withstand all of that. Right? So that's what we're
that's my notes. Don't worry.
Okay. That's what we're doing. So talking about a healthy relationship, and you want to, a goal of yours should be to be living out a healthy relationship. Just like we want to be healthy physically, we want to be healthy mentally, we want to be healthy spiritually. You want relationally, you want to be healthy.
Yeah.
And these are three ways that we are working towards being in a healthy relationship. So let me just say this shameless plug. If you want to learn how to communicate on an extraordinary level, if you want to be able to achieve recognizing, managing, and recovering from conflict in record time, if you want to learn how to build an intimate bond, shoot us a message.
Yeah.
That is what we specialize in. That is what we're passionate about. That is what we have helped many couples do successfully. So shoot us a message. You can shoot us a message anywhere that you're watching this. You can shoot us a DM, or if you're an email person, you can email us at admin@denoli.org and just let us know, hey, listen, we were listening to you talk about healthy relationships on Inside the Relationship, and we would like to experience that in our relationship. What can you do for us? And we'll get together and talk about how we can serve you in that way.
We would love to.
We would love to do that. We would love to do that. So that's the Marriage Minute. Healthy relationships, communication, effective conflict management, and intimacy building holistically are the things that, and listen, I'm going to go out on a limb, folks. This is live. So this could either go very well, or this could be a viral soundbite, what I'm about to say, right?
Man.
We've been married for 24 years. I've known this woman for about 30, almost 30 years. And I feel like at this juncture, we are the healthiest that we have been.
I would agree. I would agree. So no soundbite, no viral soundbite. Well, it could still go viral, I guess.
Yeah. And it's due to many things. It's due to many things, but the three that we shared are an integral part of that as well.
Having said that, those three things, yes, we are working on them and we have gotten better at them, but I just don't want people to think that we feel like we've perfected it.
No.
Because we have not. We still, mess up quite a bit. But we're so much better than we were years ago.
Right.
And we're in a much better place than we were years ago, even maybe 4 or 5 years ago.
Yeah.
And so I think that it's just always a process and you're always learning. And so don't ever feel like there's any perfect couple out there, because there's not. There's not.
Listen, and that's why I chose my words carefully. You notice I didn't say what we do is we communicate on an
Correct.
extraordinary level. I said we are working
That's right.
to do that.
That's right.
I didn't say that we, we listen, it is a journey.
Yeah.
We use words like marital journey, phrases like terms like that for a reason, because a journey indicates that you're still traveling.
Right.
Right. So if we say that we're trying to get you to a destination, then that means you've gotten to a place of mastery. And I don't know that anybody gets to a place of mastery. What I believe people get to is what we call a cruising altitude, where things are moving at a good pace and you're comfortable and you're able to move about successfully. But there's always room for improvement and room for growth.
Yeah.
All right.
Sure.
What you said, however, takes us into the last word in terms of what you're talking about with progress. Kel said it's never ending.
And sometimes things change.
Yep.
So true.
Yep.
So true. Things probably will change.
Things probably will change if you and your spouse or you and your significant other, I'll say spouse, because technically we're talking about marriage when we're talking about. Can you turn the fan on?
All of these things.
Thank you.
If you and your spouse are the same, can you feel it? If you and your spouse are the same people that you were when you first got married,
that's an indication that growth
that growth did not take place. Correct. So you probably will change as you go along.
And here's the beauty of the third thing that we mentioned, which is creating that strong, intimate bond. The beauty of creating the strong, intimate bond is as those changes happen, the bond is strong enough to carry the weight of those changes.
Yeah.
Because often when there's no bond, so let me give you a great example of this. When there's no bond, here's a great example. We've seen this in the past where parents who have grown kids and become empty nesters, because there was no intention around creating a bond, that change caused them to get a divorce. It was too much. That change took a piece of what was important to them, what was a part of their life, took it away from them. They're now empty nesters and they're looking at each other like, I don't know who this person is.
Right.
Because my identity was wrapped up in raising these kids and co-parenting with you, but there was no intention around creating a bond. So now that we've gone to this next phase and stage, there's nothing here to hold that next phase and stage up. And so that's why it's so important to have that intimate bond, because things, like you said, will change.
Things will probably change.
Things will change. Listen, so good information. We'll do a wrap up at the end, but listen, we are going to go into the last segment for tonight's show, which is the last word.
Cut me off there.
Yeah, sorry. I didn't know you were going to repeat it.
So, the last word, guys, is this. Progress is progress. We know that there are a lot of couples who are like diligently working on their relationship, diligently working on themselves, even so that they can be a better person for their relationship. And so the last word is progress is progress. Like we were talking when you were talking about recovering quicker, recovering from conflict quicker. Sometimes like we'll think, okay, so we need to work on recovering from conflict quicker. So it used to take us, 5 weeks to completely recover from a specific conflict in the relationship. So we're going to work on shortening that. And now it's taken you 4 weeks. Right. And so a lot of people often think, man, this this progress is, we're not even moving. It's only 4 weeks and, it's only been a week's difference and we're still having conflict. Or, I said that I was going to stop cursing, and every now and then I still curse a little bit less, but not a lot less. All of these things, you gotta look at the big picture. You're not where you are. I want you to get it in your mind that you're not where you started. Whether you've taken 1 step or 10 steps, you're still not at the starting line. You've progressed. My English, sorry, my British. You've progressed. I can't say it right because I'm British.
Say it however you say it.
You've progressed further along from where you started. So I just want you to know and remember, keep in mind that progress is progress, and celebrate it. Like, man, we recovered from this conflict in record time. For us, 4 weeks is record time.
Right? Because you didn't do that. You never did that before.
We never did that before. So progress is progress. I want you to remember that and celebrate it, and don't dismiss it. Like, really sit down and think about it and be like, man, I really am not where I was. I'm not where I started. And if you continue doing that, it will encourage you and just give you the motivation to keep going. And then you will look back and be like, wow, look how far I've come. But you got to keep going. You cannot be discouraged when to you your progress is just, a little bit. It's progress. Progress is progress. And if you're not where you started from, you're good. Just keep going.
I love it. I love it. Kellen said this subject is touchy for me. Progress individually can solo out a partner's seeming selfish.
Wow.
That's kind of what's in my court. And I get that too. And what I would say, and this is a very quick answer that we could, flush out at another time. But as if we're talking about individually, because I think you were talking about collectively, in terms of progress being progress, right?
Actually, both, because you got to work on yourself as well.
You do have to work on yourself. And what I would say, if we're strictly talking individually, right? What I need to do so that there isn't a widened gap between you and I, whether that be emotionally, spiritually, physically, whatever it is, as I'm working and as I'm adjusting and as I'm growing and as I'm becoming more self-aware, I need to bring you along for the journey on the journey with me.
Yeah.
Right. Because as I bring you along on the journey with me, it's not necessarily so that you can catch up and be at the same pace that I'm at, but it's so that you are cognizant of where I'm at and where I'm going.
Because I need to know that.
You need to know that. And you also need to feel like you're not being left behind.
Yeah.
So it's not so much that you got to walk the same pace that I am.
Yeah.
So let's think of it like this. Here's a great example. This is a great example. I can't go on a walk with her.
Oh, good example.
And I can't go on a walk with her because she walks at a pace that I can't keep up. So, and it's not that I can't go on a walk with her. It's I choose not to go on a walk with her because I know that I can't keep up. Right? Now, on a walk, however, in that same scenario, if she's walking and she's looking back and she's like, hey, you good? All right, come on. I'm gonna slow down a little bit, or I'm going to keep my pace, but here's where we're trying to go. Here's what we're trying to do. Or she may stop for a second and I do catch up and we have a conversation, and then she jets off again. Right. Now I'm like, well, she ain't just leaving me in the dust.
Yeah.
I'm included in this, even though I'm still not at the pace where she's at.
Right.
Right.
So good.
So that's a way that as you're growing individually, that you can still be aware of what's happening in a way that doesn't create this gap.
Yeah.
Right. Because the gap can cause issues. It can.
Definitely, for sure.
It can definitely cause issues. So, and again, that's really a real quick way of saying that. There are ways to really kind of flush that out a little bit more, but that's the quick answer to that. So
yeah, but progress is progress. Overall, Progress is progress, and don't be discouraged at your pace.
Yeah.
Your pace is your pace. And as long as you're moving and you haven't given up and you're not discouraged, which sometimes we will get discouraged,
Mm-hmm.
but we got to get back up and be like, man, I got to keep moving. At least I'm not where I was. Look at the glass half full instead of half empty.
Right.
At least I'm not where I was. This is good. You know, give yourself a pat on the back and be like, come on, good. This is good, Nisi.
Mm-hmm.
You're not where you were. Keep going. Progress is progress. Stagnation is stagnation.
Right.
So
and you know, another example, we have couples who their one of their goals is to have a date night every week.
mm-hmm.
Right. And they're going from not haven't had a date night in the last like year.
Right.
They're like, man, okay, you know what? We recognize that we should be having date nights. So
Yeah.
we're going to go from not having one for the last year to having one every week.
Yeah.
And then a month goes by and they're like, oh, man, we only did it twice.
Right. But that's 2 more times than you have done in the last year.
You ain't do none
right
in the last year.
Yeah.
And you did twice in 1 month.
Right.
Hey, listen, let's break out the balloons for that one. How about that?
Yeah.
Right. And then here's the thing. What that should do is, you talked about celebrating.
Mm-hmm.
What that should do is it should now motivate you
Yeah.
to continue to be consistent.
Correct.
Because you enjoyed what that win felt like.
Yeah.
So now we're like, you know what? Hey, we did it twice. Listen, let's try to do it 3 times next month.
Mm-hmm.
Or let's make sure we don't do it less than 2 times.
Right.
Because we know what that feels like. Right.
Yeah.
And so just be cognizant of that and just continue to keep going.
Mm-hmm.
I say this often. People who have been around me have heard me say this a million times. If I step outside right now and I start walking in any direction, as long as I continue to put one foot in front of the other, in 1 hour, I will not be in New York City.
Right.
I won't be.
Mm-hmm.
But I'm going to be a long way from the house.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
So
you got to start somewhere.
You got to start somewhere.
You have to start somewhere.
You got to start somewhere. So that's the last word. That is the last word. Listen, progress is progress. We want to see you guys win. If you're just joining or if you're kind of popping in and out, make sure you go back and watch the beginning of the show where we talked about, in the media mixdown, we talked about a woman who literally believes that she's not cheating if she's with somebody who's in another state. She had a boyfriend in one state. He's finding out that she got men all over the country because she ain't cheating. And she told him, I'm not cheating on you. They don't live here. You can go back and hear what I had to say about how I feel about this lady. And then we had the question of the week. The question of the week talked about a woman who her husband has a childhood female friend, and the childhood female friend is very close. And although she doesn't believe anything is going on, she's starting to feel jealous and she wanted to know what she should do. Go back and see what we had to say about that. Go back and check out the 3 things that we are doing and the 3 things that we're helping other couples do to have healthy relationships. And then remember that progress is progress. Kellen said, thank you, guys. Love the show. Thank you for being here. Appreciate your support. Appreciate you being in the comments. I think we had David Kennedy in the comments earlier as well. To all of you who have been popping in and out, welcome. Thank you for being here. If you're new to Inside the Relationship, we would love for you to subscribe to our YouTube channel. We would love for you to check out the array of t-shirts that we have at pressandsew.com. You can get your t-shirts there. We would love your support in that way. And listen, share this. Share this with another couple you know. Share this with somebody who's dating. Share this with a single person. Listen, share this with everybody that you know. Also, be on the lookout. This Saturday night, we will be back with a new episode this Saturday night of our late night show called Have a Conversation After Dark. Make sure that you are in the house for that as well. All right? Anything else you got?
Nope.
I think we're good, man.
You're good.
It was a good show today. Thank you all for being a part of this. You all are the best part of that. And again, if you want to communicate on an extraordinary level, and you want to recognize, manage, and recover from conflict in record time, and you want to learn how to build a strong, intimate bond, reach out, shoot us a message. We'll have a conversation with you and let you know how we can be of service to you in that endeavor. All right. This has been another episode of Inside the Relationship, a show about all things relationships. We are really glad that you were here and that you came through to hang out with us. And we pray God's blessing on your union if you're married. If you're dating, may your dating experience be a phenomenal, productive one. And blessings on you as you go throughout the rest of this week and into the weekend. We'll see you next week.
See you next time. Good night.